She walks the line on a narrow street. Santiago's heat under restless feet. Words like fire burn the air they meet. Truth speakers, she don't bow or retreat. Maria, Maria, say it loud. No.
Starving the soul of America. Creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein's genocide by starvation and a healthcare holocaust. Listen up, you sorry excuses for a nation. Because if you don't, you're complicit in this slow-motion slaughterhouse we're calling the United States of Amnesia, 2025 edition. Picture this: a bloated, orange-tinted clown waddling around the White House, his tiny hands signing away the last scraps of dignity for the very people who bought his snake oil promises of greatness. That's creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein for you. Folks, the Epstein of emperors, the traitor who hugs dictators and kicks the ladder out from under the poor, the disabled, the elderly, and every hard-working soul scraping by on fumes. He's not just failing us, he's feasting on our despair, turning the American dream into a nightmare where kids go to bed hungry and grandma rations her pills because the checks stopped coming. And why? Because this creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Epstein thinks if he starves out the losers, he'll pave the way for his trillionaire buddies to turn this country into their personal playground. Spoiler, it's working, and it's disgusting. Let's start with the basics, shall we? Because apparently some folks still need a crayon-drawn map to see the carnage. Creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein's been in the Oval Office for less than a year this time around. And already, he's gutted the Department of Health and Human Services like a fish on a dock. We're talking a proposed 30% / $36 billion yanked from the HHS budget for fiscal 2026, according to that leaked OMB memo from April. That's not pocket change. That's the lifeblood of programs keeping folks alive. The Centers for Disease Control. Whacked by 40%, leaving us blind to the next pandemic while creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein golfs in Florida. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Poof, gone, along with Head Start for poor kids and rural hospital supports that were the only thing keeping Heartland ERs from closing their doors. And don't get me started on the layoffs. 20,000 HHS employees shown the door by March, including scientists and docs who actually gave a damn. RFK Jr. That vaccine-denying clown he put in charge calls it Make America Healthy Again. Healthy. Honey, it's Make America Hungry and Hopeless Again, and the punchline is on us. But wait, there's more hilarity in this horror show. Creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein's Big, Beautiful Bill, H.R. 1. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed on July 4 like some twisted Independence Day fireworks, carves out $1.1 trillion from healthcare over the next decade. That's 11.8 million Americans losing coverage, per the Congressional Budget Office, with Medicaid taking the biggest hit. Rural hospitals. Crumbling like his spray-tan facade, because who needs ERs when you've got thoughts and prayers? And the kicker: this genius move lets enhanced Obamacare subsidies expire at the end of 2025, adding another 5 million uninsured to the pile. We're talking families choosing between insulin and rent, cancer patients rationing chemo, and veterans. Yeah, the ones creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein pretends to champion, watching their VA care evaporate under privatization schemes that line his cronies' pockets. Now, let's roast that steaming pile of lies he calls his immigrant bogeyman excuse. Oh, creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein, you slimy Epstein wannabe, still peddling the fairy tale that Democrats want to hand golden health care tickets to illegals while real Americans rot. Pull the other one, you crooked, sleepy traitor. It's got bells on. First off, undocumented immigrants. They've never qualified for full Medicaid, CHIP, or marketplace subsidies under federal law. Never, zilch. Nada. Emergency care. Sure, because no hospital wants a dead body in the lobby, but that's it. No free rides, no taxpayer-funded spa days. Lawfully present folks. Even they wait 5 years for Medicaid, scraping by on state scraps if they're lucky. and DACA dreamers. Booted from marketplace coverage as of August 25, thanks to your reconciliation wet dream. But you've restricted eligibility to just green card holders, Cubans, Haitians, and a handful of Pacific Islanders, leaving 1.4 million lawfully present immigrants uninsured, per KFF estimates. That's not protecting America. That's purging it for your deportation circus. Speaking of which, the mass deportation farce. Creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein's Operation Aurora, or whatever macho name he slapped on this clusterfuck, has rounded up 140,000 souls by April, but claims of 1 million by year's end. Funny numbers, all right. Axios called it unorthodox math, counting detentions as removals. While the real count hovers at half that, and the impact, devastating. The American Immigration Council reports over 1 million legal status folks, parolees, TPS holders, CBP-1 users, stripped bare and shipped out, swelling the undocumented pool by default. Economies in Chicago's little village. Frozen solid, businesses shuttered because workers vanished overnight. Agriculture. Field hands ghosted post-inauguration, crops rotting in the sun. Construction and childcare. Millions of jobs evaporated, dragging down wages for native-born folks too. EPI says higher-skilled workers get hit hardest, shrinking GDP and spiking deficits by billions. And the cost? $170 billion funneled to ICE via your big, beautiful bill, 80 times more than labor enforcement. That's not security. That's a subsidy for cruelty, turning neighborhoods into ghost towns and hospitals into debtors' prisons as fear keeps patients away. But the real gut punch, the one that has me, your fearless truth-roasting queen, choking on my own fury. The snap apocalypse barreling down for November. Day 19 of this idiotic government shut down. You're shut down, creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein, because you couldn't negotiate your way out of a paper bag, and the USDA's screaming from the rooftops. No food stamps for 42 million Americans next month if this drags on. That's 1 in 8 of us, folks, the disabled wheeling to empty pantries they can't reach, elders staring at bare cupboards, low-income families deciding between diapers and dinner. Funds cover October, sure, but November. Crickets. States like New York, Wisconsin, Illinois, New Mexico, halting new apps, delaying files, bracing for the void. Your big, beautiful bill slapped stricter work requirements, error penalties, and a 120-day implementation deadline hitting November 1, squeezing another chunk out with $186 billion in cuts over a decade. Pantries. Overwhelmed, understocked. Food banks report lines tripling since the shutdown kicked off October 1. And who suffers most? The 1.9 million in Illinois alone per is, or the vets, the single moms, the cancer survivors whose tremendous economy you boast about leaves them foraging like animals. Oh, but creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein, you Epstein-level hypocrite. This isn't about Democrats or borders. It's your black heart on display. You've deported so many immigrants, Reed. Terrified families contributing taxes and toil that the foreign-born workforce dropped 2 million by July per census prelims. Yet SNAP and Medicaid, you're slashing them for citizens too, your own red state base, the miners and farmers you wooed with coal fairy tales. Why? Because in your trillionaire utopia, only the Bezos and Musks get to eat caviar while the rest of us fight over crumbs. Judges, silent as graves, Congress, bought or broken, rubber-stamping your Schedule F purges that axed 50,000 civil servants. No one's yelling enough. Because fear's the new currency, and you're the mint. Let me paint you a picture, you complacent couch potatoes. Because mocking this monster ain't enough. We gotta eviscerate the myth. Imagine little Maria in rural West Virginia. Her diabetic daddy skipping shots because Medicaid's capped and rural hospitals are folding like cheap suits under your $1.1 trillion axe. Or Jamal in Chicago, wheelchair-bound vet, eyeing an empty fridge as SNAP glitches out November 1, his pantry run. a pipe dream with legs that don't work. These aren't statistics. They're souls you're sentencing to slow death. Your tariffs jacked groceries 20%, inflation's at 4.2%, yet you're too busy revoking TPS for 500,000 to notice the famine you're brewing. Genocide. Damn right, by neglect, by design, vomiting hate like it's policy. And for what? 2, balance the budget while your Mar-a-Lago tabs hit $150 million. You're not a leader, you're a landlord evicting humanity. But here's the roast that burns hottest. Creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein, you couldn't run a lemonade stand without bankrupting it, yet you're captaining the ship of state straight into an iceberg of your own making. Remember 2017, when you tried to gut the ACA and watched your approval tank? Deja vu, Buttercup. This time with RFK Jr., peddling supplements instead of science, and your deportation dollars, $50 billion for camps alone, sucking oxygen from real fixes. Economists at Penn Wharton. They say your mass exodus will shrink paychecks across the board, erode GDP by trillions, and balloon deficits because, surprise, immigrants, legal or not, pump $500 billion into the economy yearly. You're not draining the swamp. You're flooding it with bile, leaving native workers jobless in construction, down 15% in raid-heavy zones, and childcare, where 40% of providers are immigrant. Even your MAGA cult's cracking. Polls show 55% of over 65s fretting your fitness. And rural GOP districts screaming as hospitals shutter, and the global laugh riot. Allies like Canada and the EU are eyeing trade walls because your America First is code for America Fractured. Venezuela. They're laughing through tears as your boat bombings, 30 dead, 0 coke bricks, turn the Caribbean into a kill zone. You're not tough, you're a toddler with a tantrum, and the world's pointing and giggling while our pantry's empty. But us, we're done chuckling. We're rising from the no kings. Marches, 7 million strong last weekend, to the lawsuits stacking against your illegal detentions, dozens of judges calling it a perversion. Demand the CR with subsidy extensions, repeal your big, beautiful blunder, because silence is starvation. Phew, I've ranted, roasted, and ripped this farce to shreds, but let's zoom out for the cold, hard truth. This is policy as poison, a deliberate dismantling of the safety nets that make America worth a damn. Creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein isn't slipping. He's sprinting toward a legacy of empty graves and echoing halls. We've got shutdown day 19 ticking like a bomb, SNAP on the brink, Medicaid morphing into a memory, all while he nods to trillionaires and nods off mid-sentence. It's not funny anymore, it's fatal. Now, at the end, as you're straight-shooting, no-bullshit guide through this garbage fire, let me lay it bare, heart on sleeve, voice cracking with the rage of 1,000 stolen tomorrows. This article. It's a scream from the gut, a desperate dispatch from the front lines of a war on the vulnerable that no one elected but everyone suffers. Feel it. Damn you. Feel the hollow ache of a child asking why dinner's just water tonight, the terror in a grandma's eyes as her heart pills run dry, the suffocating silence of families fractured by raids that rip dads from cribsides. This is genocide by greed, folks, a calculated cruelty where America first means everyone else last, buried under budget blades and border bluster. Creepy, crooked, sleepy traitor Trump Epstein's not just failing us, he's erasing us, one denied doctor visit, one delayed debit card at a time. And it breaks me, shatters me, to type these words knowing millions are living them, innocent lives bartered for billionaire bonuses, dreams deported like trash. We can't unread this. We can't unfeel the fury. So rise, roar, resist, because if we don't clutch our humanity now with fists clenched and tears hot, we'll wake to a nation of ghosts. This is our wake-up, our war cry enough. We are better than this monster's malice. Fight like your life depends on it, because it does. Written by Santiago D.C. Maria, copyright 2025 independent writer, Crowning Thoughts truth speaker, AI video content creator, writer, blogger Santiago D.C. Maria. All rights reserved.